to combat a shortage of sperm donors in England. The British government established the National Sperm Bank in 2014. But a year later, only 9 men have registered as donors to the bank. Now, some believe the dearth of donors has to do with a change in the law in 2005 that removed donor anonymity, giving children born after 2005 the right to face their biological fathers. Joining us now with more on the situation is Laura Wichens, the Chief Executive of the National Sperm Bank in the UK. Laura, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Now, set the record straight for us. Is the number 9 really it? That does not seem like all that many donors.
No, it doesn't. But actually, I look at it differently. I say, wow, we have got as many as 9 donors. I think we need to put this into perspective. When we put a plan to the Department of Health, we said we need basic funding, £77,000, which is not much, where we can prove a partnership between an established clinic and a charity like ours to set up something that would give equal access to all patients, and not just the wealthy ones in pockets in the UK where they're recruiting well, like Manchester and London, for instance. So, but we did say that within a year we would have 13 to 15 donors, and at this stage we have 9. So we're actually on target, and it also reflects that recruiting sperm donors is incredibly difficult, because it's not a matter of going to clinic once and doing what sperm donors do. You actually have to go into the clinic twice a week for 3 to 4 months, and then have a blood test to make sure there's nothing happening in the meantime. So it could take as long as 6 to 9 months, and that makes it all very complicated.
Yeah, I think that's definitely more of a commitment than most people probably assume. Why does so much go into the process?
We need to make sure that it's healthy, quality sperm. And one of the problems is that actually 90% of the men, around 80 or 90% of the men, fail the test of the screening. So there could be healthy guys, they could have their own families, but what happens with sperm used for a bank, it's frozen. And it's the thawing process that actually kills most of the sperm. So we have guys coming in very healthy, and then we have to tell them, we're really sorry, but you just don't hack it as a sperm donor. So we have to make sure that it's the best for the patient, so the right swimmers and swimming in the right direction, all of that. But also we need to make sure that it's tested free from diseases, and we need to help a number of patients. So the 3 to 4 months is to allow at least 20 treatments per donor, which typically in the UK is limited to 10 families as well. So most donors agree to the maximum of 10 families, and we need to make sure that if somebody agrees to it, and if somebody has got good quality, we make the best use of them, really.
Now, what kind of demand is there in the UK for sperm donors? And if the sperm bank, the National Sperm Bank, has such limited numbers, where are people turning to?
The sperm bank is just one of the banks. Where we are different is that we're going to supply to all the clinics, but there are well-functioning banks in the UK. At the moment, we have got about 650 to 700. The latest stats are not available, which on a population of 65 million doesn't sound a lot. And there is a gap, but we think what we would need in total is about 1,000 donors. So there clearly is a gap which we need to work on. Now, the increase for demand has come from same-sex couples and single women, and generally more men are infertile as well. At the moment, what happens is that people end up on a waiting list. The UK, we import from the US and from Denmark, and a growing number of people, and especially same-sex couples, actually use unregulated services. And that's something we should really should avoid at all costs, because that's dangerous, legally dangerous, medically dangerous, and more importantly, you have no idea how many offspring there is per donor. So a donor conceived could find that he or she has got, I don't know, anything between 100 and 200 half siblings running around in the nearby area. I really don't want that.
All right. Now, you say that you're happy to at least have 9, but what is your plan a year in to attract more donors in the future, and what kind of campaign are you planning for the fall?
Well, we can't do recruitment campaigns with government money. That's one of the reasons why we can only really start campaigning in earnest now. Now we have 9 donors, and with their income we can reinvest. So there are some recruitment campaigns planned in Birmingham, where the National Sperm Bank is likely to be radio campaigns, because they typically have the most impact. And depending on how that goes, we will build up on that either via billboards, but that depends on the money we can generate. It's going to be a slow start. But the other thing is we just need to be careful with the messaging. It's not just about about recruiting lots of donors. That sounds easy, but it's about balancing the sensitivities around the patients and indeed the donor-conceived people. Because if you have billboards which show that you're a Superman or something like that, we don't want to give the message that your masculinity is somehow linked to your fertility. I mean, a man who is infertile could be ill, could be because of a war injury, doesn't mean he's any more or less masculine. So we want to really stay away from that type of message. So it's going to be difficult, but it can be done. And some clinics in the UK have shown that it can be done, and we just need to follow their example as well.
All right, Laurel, thank you for joining us today.